Hello children and viewers. So please watch, share and subscribe my channel. So today my topic is formation of stationary wave in stretched strings when the reflection is takes place at fixed boundary. So first of all, this stationary wave is also called as a standing waves. So first of all, I am going to explain the definition of stationary wave. So to explain that, so I am taking a string. So let us consider this a string or a wire having some linear mass or linear density. So when the string is fixed between the two rigid supports, some tension will be developed. So that's why when it is plugged perpendicular to its length, what happened? So one wave is generated from this end and reaches the other end. At the same time, at this end, another wave is produced. So this is called the incident wave and this is called the reflected wave. So when these two waves are traveling in the medium, they are traveling in opposite direction or superimposed at every point. So due to that, a new type of wave is formed. So that wave is called the stationary wave. So what are the conditions to form the stationary wave? Two waves are required. So these are progressive transverse wave. So when two progressive transverse wave having same amplitude, the amplitude must be the same as well as, so the wavelength is also same. So and next condition is they must travel in opposite direction. The two waves must travel in opposite direction. When two progressive transverse wave having same amplitude and wavelength traveling in opposite direction are superimposed, a new wave is formed. That wave is called stationary wave. So as well as it is also called as standing wave. So why that wave is called stationary wave? For example, if the energy in this segment, so when the stationary wave is formed, it can be formed in the form of the loop. This is known as loop or segment. So when the stationary wave is formed in the form of loop or segments, so the energy in one loop cannot be transferred to the other loop. So that's why the energy will be restricted to some region. It cannot be transmitted. So that's why this wave is called the stationary wave or standing wave. So when the stationary wave is formed, so at some places, so the displacement of the particle may be zero, and at some places, so the displacement of the particle may be maximum. So the displacement may be maximum. That's why this is called the amplitude. So here at some place the amplitude will be maximum. At some places the amplitude will be zero. So the place where the amplitude is zero, so that places are called node. Node is represented with the letter N. And here what is happening? So the displacement is zero. Y is 0, the displacement is 0, that place is called the node. And at other some places, what is happening? The amplitude become maximum, so the displacement become maximum, that maximum displacement is also called as amplitude. So that place are called antinodes. It is represented with A, antinode. So what is antinode? The place where the amplitude of the vibrating particle is maximum, that place is called antinode. So the place where the amplitude will be zero or the displacement is zero, that place is known as node. That's why when the stationary wave is formed, it will be formed with node and antinode. So this is about the stationary wave definition. And next I am going to derive the equation. Theoretical explanation of the stationary wave. So at what places the displacement is zero, at what place the displacement will be maximum, and what is the equation of the stationary wave, we are going to discuss. So to form the stationary wave, how many waves are required? Two waves. So one must be travel along the positive x-axis, another must be traveling along the negative x-axis. So the wave which is traveling along the positive x-axis will be called as incident wave, and the wave which is traveling along the negative x-axis will be called as the reflected wave. So when these two waves are traveling in opposite direction, So when they are superimposed, stationary wave is formed. So now what is the formula of the incident wave which is traveling along the positive x-axis? Already we know that. What is the formula? So the incident wave equation is y suffix I equal to a sin omega t minus kx. So this equation represents the incident wave or the wave traveling along the positive x-axis. And next come to the reflected wave. So the reflection takes place at a fixed boundary. Fixed boundary, or it is considered rigid boundary. Now consider this is a rigid boundary. At the rigid boundary, what is happening when the wave is incident on the rigid boundary? It can be reflected. So when the incident wave is reflected on the rigid boundary, what is happening? A phase difference pi is produced. So that's why what is the reflected wave equation? Y suffix r equal to a sin omega t plus kx, and as well as a phase difference phi is produced. So that's why sin 180 plus theta, that is nothing but minus sin theta. For the reflected wave equation is minus a sin omega t plus kx. So this is the equation of the incident wave. So next one is the equation of the reflected wave. So when these two waves are traveling in opposite direction, so both having the same amplitude and having the same wavelength. Here k is constant here, wave propagation, and nothing but wavelength is also same. So when they are superimposed at every place, so what is happening? The particle may undergo the resultant displacement. So the resultant displacement can be explained with help of the principle of superposition. According to principle of superposition, the resultant displacement at any point of the particle is always equal to sum of the individual displacement created by these two waves. The two waves are incident wave and reflected wave. That means y suffix I plus y suffix r. The resultant displacement of any particle is equal to sum of the displacement produced by the individual waves. So now substitute here y equal to, what is y suffix I? A sin omega t minus kx plus this plus into minus minus. Here plus is there, for reflected wave minus is there. Plus into minus minus. So a sin omega t plus kx. So now take a common, amplitude will be common. Take amplitude will be common. So the resultant displacement of particle equal to amplitude of sin omega t minus kx minus sin omega t plus kx. Sorry, okay, this is omega t minus kx, this is omega t plus kx. So now it will be look like sin c minus sin d. Now consider this is a c and this is a d. So in trigonometry, so there is a formula sin c minus sin d. Formula is 2 cos c plus d by 2 of sin c minus d by 2. So by using this formula, here simplify, here c means omega t minus kx. So d means omega t plus kx. So when you simplify this equation by using this one, so you get y equal to minus 2a cos omega t sin kx. It will be cos. Otherwise I will explain once. So y equal to a. So what is 2 cos into 2 cos c plus d. C is nothing but omega t minus kx plus omega t plus kx. Here minus kx and plus kx will be cancelled. Omega t will be remains. So that's why omega t plus omega t 2 omega t by what is there 2. And next come to the sine. Sin c minus d by 2. What is c? Omega t minus kx. Minus is there here. Minus means minus omega t plus into minus minus. The minus omega t minus kx. So that's why this minus omega t will be cancelled. What remains? Minus kx. Here minus is there. That minus into this plus minus kx. and that is nothing but minus 2kx by 2. So this 2 will be cancelled, this 2 will be cancelled. So y is equal to 2a. So cos omega t. So sinus minus theta, sin minus theta means what? Minus sin theta. That's why here minus will become. So theta means here kx, sin kx. So when I rearrange this equation, so y is equal to minus 2a sin kx minus 2a sin kx. After that I am writing cos omega t. So now it is the equation of the stationary wave. It is equation of the stationary wave. So in this equation of the stationary wave, here 2 minus 2a sin kx can be treated as amplitude of the every particle on the stationary wave, that will be denoted by minus 2a sin kx. So that's why that amplitude I am considering a dash equal to minus 2a sin, sorry here kx is there, sin kx. This will be amplitude of the particle, every particle when the stationary wave is formed. So to find the amplitude, so we have to use this equation. So when I substitute here a dash, it becomes y equal to a dash cos omega t. So now this is the equation of the stationary wave. Here a dash means what? Amplitude of the stationary wave or amplitude of the particle. So a dash equal to minus 2a sin kx. So this, by using this a dash equal to minus 2a sin kx, this will be gives the what? Amplitude of every particle. So which is certain distance from the rigid support. So by using this one, so from the fixed boundary or rigid boundary, so where the displacement is maximum, where the displacement is 0, or where the amplitude will be 0, where the amplitude will be maximum, we are going to learn. So that purpose I am removing this part. So what is the stationary equation? Y is equal to a dash cos omega t. This is the stationary equation. In this one, what is a dash? A dash is nothing but minus 2a sin kx. So now when you observe this equation, so the amplitude of the every particle is independent of time. So the amplitude of the every particle in the stationary wave is independent of time. That does not depend upon the time. So only depend upon the position x, and from the rigid support it is how much distance, that only depends the amplitude. So when the time changes, the amplitude cannot be changes. Only when the amplitude will be changes, when the position of the particle from the rigid support will be changes, then only the amplitude will be changes. Remember. So now what is k here? K is nothing but propagation constant. Or it is also known as the wave propagation constant. K is equal, what is the formula? 2 pi by lambda. So I am rearranging this equation. So what is that? A dash. Now a dash is equal to minus 2a sin. So I am writing here. So a dash is equal to minus 2a sin k means 2 pi by lambda into x. So by using this one, so if we take the string, so let us consider this a string, fix it to rigid support. So now consider this boundary places, this boundary is taken as origin at x equal to 0. This x equal to 0. So from this one, so the particles are at different difference, and nothing but from this one when we are moving, the x will be gradually increases. So where the particle and at what position of the particle, that is amplitude will be maximum and amplitude will be minimum, I am going to explain. So first of all, I am taking x equal to 0 until here. So this x equal to 0, when x equal to 0, when I substitute this x equal to 0, so 0 into 2 pi by lambda means 0. Sin 0 means 0. 0 into 2a means 0. So that's why amplitude will be 0. And that's why here the particle which is exactly on the boundary does not vibrate. Does not vibrate. And next one. So next position is I am taking another particle here. So now consider this particle is a distance of lambda by 4. I am writing the position of the particle in terms of lambda wavelength. When x is equal to lambda by 4, when I substitute here, a dash equal to minus 2a sine 2 pi by lambda. X means what? Lambda by 4. So this lambda will be cancelled. This 2 1s are 2 2s are. What remains here? Pi by 2. Sine pi by 2. And the sine 90 degrees. Sine 90 degrees means 1. So 1 into minus 2a means what? Minus 2a. And nothing but the amplitude is maximum, but in which direction? Downward direction. So now I am taking, so this is a maximum amplitude in upward direction plus 2a. This is a downward direction minus 2a. So now the particle which is at a distance of lambda by 4 from the rigid boundary. Let us consider this a rigid boundary. So the particle which is exactly at lambda by 4. So at what position it is at? Minus 2a. And here. It does not will be here. It will be here. And the amplitude of this particle is maximum, but in which direction? Downward direction. So now come to I am taking another particle. So taking, so x equal to lambda by 2. And I am moving, so lambda by 4 far away from the rigid support. So when x equal to lambda by 2, what is happening? So a dash equal to minus 2a sine k 2 pi by lambda into x. X means what? Lambda by 2. So this lambda will be cancelled, 2 will be cancelled. What remains? Sin pi. Sin pi means what? Sin 180 degrees. Sin 180 means what? How much value? 0. So the 0 into 2a means what? 0. So the amplitude become 0. And when the particle which is at a lambda by 2 distance from the fixed boundary, so what is the position? The position is on the string, and nothing but the displacement is 0 here. Here is also the displacement is 0, but here maximum. And next one, I am taking x is equal to 3 lambda by 4. 3 lambda by 4. And now here, lambda by 4, 2 lambda by 4, and next I am taking a particle, this is the 3 lambda by 4. So x equal to 3 lambda by 4. So a dash is equal to minus 2a sine, what is there? 2 pi by lambda into x. X means what? 3 lambda by 4. 3 lambda by 4. So this lambda is cancelled, 2 1s are 2 2s are. What remains? 3 into pi, 3 pi by 2. So 3 pi by 2 means what? 3 into 90, 270. Sin 270 means what? Sin 270 minus 1. Sin 270 value is minus 1. So minus 1 into minus 2a. It become plus 2a. What the amplitude is? Plus 2a. Now again it is maximum, but in which direction? Upward direction. So now here, this is a 3 lambda by 4 particle. Now this amplitude is here. So these are lambda by 4, these are 0, lambda by 4, 2 lambda by 4, 3 lambda by 4. Next 4 lambda by 4. 4 lambda by 4 means what? 1 wavelength. So x equal to 4 lambda by 4, that is nothing but lambda. So when this lambda is in the place of x, we have to substitute lambda. So a dash equal to minus 2a. What is there? Sine of 2 pi by lambda into x. X means how much? Lambda. So this lambda will be cancelled. 2 pi. Sine 2 pi and the sine 360. Sine 360 means what? Again 0. 0 into minus 2a, 0. But again the amplitude is 0. So again the amplitude is 0 here. So when I join these points, now this is the position. So this is the position of the particles where when time t equal to 0, when time t equal to 0. So again you can check the different particle position. So after lambda, 4 lambda by 4, 5 lambda by 4, 6 lambda by 4. So but only I am taking up to one wavelength. So this position will be repeat. So this is the position of the particles when time t equal to 0. But so this will be changes for every half cycle. And when time t equal to t by 2. Now the particle which is at this place will be move upward. That's why it will be come to here. So after time t by 2, so this particle will be come to here. So that's why when I join like this, but these particles cannot move even after time t by 2. And at any time, what is happening? At any time the particle at this place and at x equal to 0, so x equal to what is this place? X equal to lambda by 2 and x is equal to lambda. So these particles cannot be changed their position even the time is changing. So that's why the displacement will be 0. So but these positions are changing. When t equal to 0 here, after t by 2 it will become here. So when this is the particle when t equal to 0 and it move after t by 2 time here, and for every half time, so they will be shifted. So when t equal to 0, this is the position. When after t by 2 time, this is the position. And there is shifting. So the first time at t equal to 0 upward, after time t by 2 downward, again after only 3 by 2 upward. For every half time, so their position will be shifted. That's why we feel that the stationary wave is formed in the form of the loops. So now the place where the amplitude is maximum, so that place is known as antinode. So the place where the displacement or amplitude is 0, that place is called what? Nodes. So remember one thing here. So this amplitude of the all particle only depend upon the position. They does not depend upon the time. So even the time will be changes. So this is a particle. So for any time it have the maximum displacement. These are the particles at any time, they have the maximum displacement, and these are the particles at this position, so their amplitude is 0 at any time. So that's why the amplitude is only depend upon the position, it does not depend upon the time, remember. And as well as, so the energy in this segment or in this loop cannot be transferred to the other loop. That's why this is called the stationary wave. And what is happening when x equal to 0, when x equal to lambda by 2, when x equal to lambda means what? It is also written as 2 lambda by 2, and nothing but when x equal to 0, lambda by 2, 2 lambda by 2, 3 lambda by 2. At this position, which are forming nodes. And as well as x equal to lambda by 4, x equal to 3 lambda by 4, 5 lambda by 4. And when the positions of the particles are at this position, lambda by 4, 3 lambda by 4, 5 lambda by 4, 7 lambda by 4. At this place, what is happening? The amplitude is maximum. That's why which are forming? Antinodes are forming. And as well as from this diagram, so what is the distance between the node and antinode? These are lambda by 4. And what is the distance between antinode and node? These are also lambda by 4. So that's why the distance between node and antinode, or the distance between antinode and node is how much? Lambda by 4. This is very important. And as well as the distance between the two successive nodes, or the distance between the two successive antinodes is how much? Lambda by 2. The distance between the two successive nodes, or the distance between the two successive antinodes is how much? Lambda by 2. Remember, important they are in upcoming topics. So the distance between the node and antinode, or the distance between the antinode and node is how much? Lambda by 4. The distance between the two successive nodes, or the distance between the two successive antinodes is how much? Lambda by 2. So these are formation of stationary wave in structured strings. So when the reflection takes place at rigid boundary or fixed boundary. Again when they are formed in along the stretched string, So now when the time will be passes, so when the time will be passed depending upon the position, so where we are plucked, so they will be vibrate with different vibrations or different modes, and they have the different frequencies. So that's why I am going to explain the modes of vibration of the stationary wave in stretched string. So this is very important question in case of the intermediate public examination. Very important 8-mark question. This is what I am explaining today. This is very important 8-mark question. In case of Telangana Intermediate Board or in case of Andhra Pradesh Intermediate Board, this is very important 8-mark question. So next topic is modes of vibrations. Modes of vibrations. Modes of vibrations of stationary wave in stretched strings. And nothing but, so if I take the string may be vibrate with some number of loops, and depending upon the vibration, depending upon the where we are plucking or where the place we are vibrating, so that's why the number of loops containing by the stationary will be changes. So that's why when vibration changes, frequencies also changes. That are called modes of vibration, and I am going to find the different frequencies of the stationary wave. So to that purpose, so consider so this is a string. So consider this is a string of length L. This is a string of how much length? It have the length L, and as well as it has some linear mass. It has some linear mass as linear density. So the linear density will be considered mu. So what is the length of the string? The length of the string will be considered L. And when it is fixed between the two rigid support, and by stretching the string, when it is fixed between the two rigid support in the string, some tension will be created. So the tension developed in the string will be considered T. So now when I plucked at the middle of the string, remember when I plucked at the middle of the string, so now a stationary wave is formed with one segment or one loop. Now this is the incident wave, this is a reflected wave. When they are superimposed, so the stationary wave is formed with one segment or one loop. So now this frequency of the stationary wave will be called as fundamental frequency. Fundamental frequency, or it may be called as first harmonic. First harmonic. So when we say that the stationary wave is having the fundamental frequency or first harmonic, so when the stationary wave is formed with one segment or when the stationary wave contained with one segment or one loop. So now I am going to calculate this frequency. So now consider this frequency is N1. N1. So now to find the N1, first of all the length can be written in the form of the wavelength. Length can be written in the form of the wavelength. So what is the length here? L. But when the stationary wave is formed with one loop or one segment, so at the rigid support the displacement of the particle is 0. That's why nodes are formed, and at the middle which is formed? Antinode. Already in the previous class I explained what is the distance between the two antinodes? Lambda by 2. So this lambda by 2 equal to L. So that's why L is equal to lambda by 2. I am writing the length in terms of the wavelength. So when we do cross product, lambda into 1 by 1 is there 1. Lambda into 1, lambda into 2 into L, 2L. That's why lambda equal to 2L. And as well as in the previous class I explained the velocity of the transversal. When I plucked what is happening? The transverse wave produced and it travel with some velocity. So what is the velocity of the transverse wave? That is v equal to square root of t by mu. Now you know the velocity, you know the wavelength. So by using which equation we can calculate the frequency. So what is the relation between the frequency, wavelength and wave velocity? So in the starting class we learned what is that? Wave velocity is equal to frequency into wavelength. But here this frequency is called n1. So we have to calculate n1. n1 is equal to, when I bring the lambda to left side, what happened? V by lambda. So now n1 equal to, what is the square root of n1 is equal to, what is the square root of t by mu divided by lambda means how much? 2l. So when I simplify this one, this square root of t by mu, so this mu will become to downward. So that's why n1 is equal to 1 by 2l into square root of t divided by linear density. Now this is the frequency of the fundamental frequency of first harmonic when the station wave is vibrate with one loop. So this frequency is only depend upon the length, and this frequency is depend upon the tension. This frequency is depend upon the linear density. So from this one later we are going to learn the loss. So this is the information when the station wave is formed with one loop. So after that, so what I am doing here, so the same length, for the same length, the length of the wire is not changing. For the same length, fixed between the same rigid support. Fixed between the same rigid support. After that, so I am pressing the middle. I am pressing the wire middle. After that, when I plugged on half of the either part, and you may plug it here or you may plug it here. But by pressing at the middle, so now the station wave can be formed with two loops. By pressing at the middle, so when I plugged at the middle of the either part, so now the station wave is formed with how many loops? Two loops are two segments. Now in this time, how many nodes are formed? Here the displacement is 0, here the displacement is 0, here the displacement, nothing but 3 nodes. And how many antinodes are formed? This is the first antinode, this is the second. And when the station wave is formed with the two loops, 2 antinodes and 3 nodes are formed. So now when the stationary wave is vibrating with the two segments or two loops, so now the frequency of the stationary wave is called second harmonic. Second harmonic, or it may be called as first overtone. First overtone. Overtone means the frequencies, so which are integral multiples of the fundamental frequencies, and the frequencies which are integral multiples of fundamental frequencies called overtones. So next we have to find the what is the frequency of the overtone, what is the frequency of the second harmonic. So now consider that frequency will be N2. So to find that, first of all we have to write the length of the wire in terms of the wavelength. So but here how many nodes are formed? 3 nodes. But what is the distance between these two nodes? Lambda by 2. And again, what is the distance between these two nodes? Lambda by 2. So if the station is formed with one loop, lambda by 2. Simple. Here now it is formed with two loops. That's why L is equal to lambda by 2 plus lambda by 2. Here to here lambda by 2. Here to here lambda by 2. 2 lambda by 2. So don't cancel here for easily understanding purpose. So now when I do cross product, so what is the lambda? 2 into L, 2L by 2. L is equal to 2L by 2. Lambda. Now you know the wavelength. Again, what is the velocity of the transverse wave? V equal to square root of T by mu. So now you know the velocity, you know the wavelength. How can you calculate the frequency? Same formula. V equal to n lambda. But here n means n2. So now what is N2? N2 means V by lambda. Now substitute V here. What is V? Square root of T by mu divided by, what is the lambda here? 2L by 2. When you simplify this one, N2 is equal, this 2 will be goes to numerator and this mu will becomes the denominator. So that's why 2 by 2L into square root of T by mu. So now this is called the second harmonic or first overtone frequency. So when I rearrange this equation, N2 equal to 2 into 1 by 2L into square root of T by mu. So now 1 by 2L into square root of T by mu is here. This is called N1. N2 equal to 2N1. So N2 equal to 2N1. N2 equal to 2N1. So now this second harmonic or first overtone will be how many times to the fundamental frequency? Fundamental frequency 1 by 2L into square root of T by mu. How many times? 2 times. So the second harmonic will be 2 times to the fundamental frequency. And next come to the, so when the stationary wave is formed with 3 loops. When the stationary wave is formed with the 3 loops. When the stationary wave is formed with the 3 loops. Now this is the same length. How many nodes are formed? How many nodes are formed here? This is the first node, and this is the second node, this is the third node, this is the fourth node. And how many antinodes? 1, 2, 3. So this frequency, when the stationary wave is vibrate with 3 loops or 3 segments, then its frequency of the stationary wave is called third harmonic. Third harmonic or second overtone. Second overtone. It is represented with a letter that is N3. Consider. So now I have to write the formula for this N3. To find that, first find the wavelength and velocity. Then by using V equal to N lambda, when we simplify, you get the frequency. So first of all, I am writing the length in terms of lambda. So this is the first loop, this is the second loop, this is the third loop. So one loop is how much? Lambda by 2. Here how many loops are there? 3 loops. So that's why L is equal to 3 lambda by 2. So from this one, lambda equal to 3L by 2. So what is the velocity of the transverse wave? V equal to square root of T by mu. But you know the velocity, you know the wavelength. How can you calculate the frequency? By using formula V equal to N lambda. N means here how much frequency? N is nothing but here N3. So now from this one, third harmonic frequency is equal to velocity by wavelength. So third harmonic equal to, what is velocity? Square root of T by mu divided by wavelength. So what is the wavelength here? 3L by 2. So when you simplify, N3 is equal to, this 2 will be goes to the numerator. That's why 2 by 3L into square root of T by mu. So now this is called the third harmonic frequency or second overtone. So when I rearrange the equation, N3 equal to, sorry, mistake is happened here. So here what? Lambda is equal to what? 2L by 3 comes here. 2L by 3. 2L by 3. So the lambda 2, this when the 2 will be go to the numerator, this side 2L by 3 will be here. 2L by 3. Not 3L by 2, 2L by 3. So that's why this 3 will be goes to numerator, 3 by 2L. So when I rearrange the equation, 3 into, so 1 by 2L into square root of T by mu. And that is nothing but the third harmonic is 3 times to the fundamental frequency. Here 1 by 2L into square root of T by mu is nothing but fundamental frequency. So this third harmonic will be 3 times to the fundamental frequency. In the same way, so when the stationary wave is vibrate with P loops, and if I take the one loop, 1 by 2L into square root of T by mu. So if it vibrate with the 2 loops, 2 by 2L into 2 by 2L into square root of T by mu. If it vibrate with 3 loops, 3 by 2L into square root of T by mu. So if the stationary wave is vibrate with P loops, here P means nothing but number, P loops. P may be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like that. So what is the frequency of that stationary wave? That is nothing but N suffix P equal to P by 2L into square root of T by mu. So this is the general. This is the general formula of when the stationary wave is vibrated with P loops. So if it is vibrated one loop, in place of P substitute 1. It vibrate with 2 loops, P equal to 2. It vibrate with 3 loops, P equal to 3. It vibrate with 10 loops, 10, P equal to 10. Like that we can calculate the frequency of the stationary wave formed with any number of loops. So next after that I am going to tell the loss of transverse wave, loss, by using the fundamental frequency. Loss of transverse waves. So this is very important. So what the class I am teaching today, so that is very important in case of the board examinations of Telangana as well as the Andhra Pradesh. So what is the fundamental frequency formula? N equal to 1 by 2L into square root of T by mu. So if you know this formula, then we can easily understood the loss of the transverse wave. Next my topic is loss of transverse waves. Loss of transverse waves. So this loss easily can be understood if you know the fundamental frequency of the stretched string. Here N is nothing but fundamental frequency, L is nothing but length of the string, T is nothing but tension created in the string, mu is nothing but linear density. So when I am explaining the first law, that will be give the relation between the frequency and length. When I explaining the second law, that give the relation between the frequency and tension. When I explain the third law, that gives the frequency relation between the frequency and linear density. So when we are going to find the relation between N and L, these two are constant. When I am going to explain the relation between the frequency and tension, length and linear density are constant. When I am going to explain the relation between the frequency and linear density, the length and tension are constant. So as well as you have to know some mathematics. So what is the relation between N and L? Here inversely proportional. What is the frequency and tension? Directly proportional. What is the mathematical relation between the frequency and linear density? Inversely proportional. So first of all I am explaining the first law. First law of transverse wave, or it may be called as law of length. Law of length or first law. So what the first law will be says? The first law will be give the information relation between the frequency and length. The fundamental frequency of the stretched string. The fundamental frequency of the stretched string is inversely proportional to length. The fundamental frequency of the stretched string is inversely proportional to length when tension is constant and linear density is also constant. So what is the first law statement? The fundamental frequency, N means fundamental frequency, is inversely proportional to length of the string when tension in the string and linear density are constant. So when I remove the proportionality, what you get? N equal to 1 by L, N equal to constant into 1 by L. So that's why when we do the cross product, N into L equal to constant. This is the mathematical equation of the first law. What is the first law? Fundamental frequency is inversely proportional to the length of the stretched string when the tension in the string and linear density of the string are constant. Next come to the second law. Second law gives a relation between the frequency and tension. How they are? They are directly proportional. So second law. So second law may be called as law of tension. Law of tension. So the law of tension will be says that what is the statement? So the fundamental frequency of the stretched string is directly proportional to square root of tension. The fundamental frequency of the stretched string is directly proportional to square root of tension when what are constant? When length of the string is constant and linear density is constant. What is the second last statement? The fundamental frequency of the stretched string is directly proportional to square root of tension when length of the string and linear density of the string are constant. Now what is the mathematical formula? That is nothing but when I bring the root to right side, it will be remains there constant. So n by root t equal to constant. This is the second law mathematical equation. Now come to the third law. Third law is also called as law of linear mass or linear density. Law of linear mass. Law of linear mass. So this will be give the relation between the frequency and linear density. How they are? They are inversely proportional. So the fundamental frequency of the stretched string is inversely proportional to square root of linear mass or linear density. What is the relation between them? Inversely proportional or 1 by directly proportional. So the what is the relation between them? The fundamental frequency of the stretched string is inversely proportional to square root of linear density. So what is the condition when length of the string is constant and tension in the string is constant? Tension in the string is constant. So these are the conditions. Next, what is the formula? Mathematical formula when I bring the square root of m to the left side, n into root mu equal to constant. So this is a mathematical formula of third law. So this is also very important while we are doing the problems. So these are the laws. First law gives the relation between the frequency and length. Second law will be give the relation between the frequency and tension. Third law will be give the relation between the frequency and linear mass. So this is today's topic.